Greetings, Mason Storm here. So I grew a bunch of strawberries in the garden. Don't really have enough to follow a conventional recipe, so I make my strawberry jam by weight. So I'll show you how to do it. This is good for low volume and if you don't want to get into any canning type stuff. Just 3 ingredients: sugar, strawberries, and lemon juice. Start by weighing your strawberries, then weigh out half the amount in sugar and 6% of the amount in lemon juice. In my case here, I had 500 grams of strawberries, so I had 250 grams of sugar and 30 grams of lemon. To begin, we're going to get ourselves a pot and a potato masher. We're going to begin by mashing our strawberries. Now, you can have this really pulpy or very smooth. The more you mash it, the smoother it's going to be. The less you mash it, inversely, it's going to be more chunky. So, however you want to do it, doesn't really make a huge difference. It just tastes different and is a different experience. So, make it the way you want it. I'm going to go somewhat smooth here on mine. I don't really like overly chunky strawberry jam that you go to spread a little bit on your toast and you got these just giant globs. That's not really my thing, so I go a little bit thinner. I mash it quite thoroughly. Once you're satisfied with your mash consistency, we can add in our sugar as well as the lemon. Then we can make our way over to the stove. We'll just set our pot on there. We're going to go for a medium heat, and what we want to do is we want to heat it up, stirring it at the same time. You want to stir it so it doesn't scorch. And you want to heat it so it goes to a boil, which takes a couple minutes depending on your stove. And then once we achieve our boil, we simply have to reduce our heat till we achieve a good simmer. Now, depending on how aggressive of a simmering you do, it can vary in its cook time. But essentially what we want to do is we want to remove some of the moisture, some of the water from our strawberries to make it have more of a jammy type of consistency. So 20 minutes, maybe 40 minutes, depending on how much moisture you want to remove and how fast your simmer is. I cooked mine on the longer side, so it made for a very composed jam structure, which I think works out pretty good because then it kind of spreads, but it's not super runny. But if you leave a little bit more moisture in there, a little bit more runny, maybe it spreads a little bit easier. Maybe that's just the type of thing that you want to have. Now, they do say that you can check your jam with a frozen spoon. I tried this, didn't really have any good luck with that. Maybe I didn't know what I was doing, but you're supposed to like dip your spoon in your jam and then kind of pour it off of the spoon, and if it comes out in a sheet, then it's perfect. If it comes out in dribbles, it's not boiled enough, and yeah, it doesn't sound very exact to me, but this whole making jam thing is very similar to making candy. It's like once you achieve the proper amount of moisture, it's just perfect. It's just a little bit tricky trying to figure out that exact amount. And as far as jams go, having a little bit more runny, having it not as runny, both are valid things and taste delicious on toast. So to each their own. Now, I noticed that the jam was getting a little bit darker in color and that a lot of the moisture was starting to evaporate at this point, so I decided to get ready with my storage procedures. Now, I'm not formally doing any form of canning here, but what I'm going to do is transfer it into a nice sterile dish. In order to sterilize it, I have it in a pot of boiling water, sitting on some spoons, so it's not just sitting on the bottom of the pan, and just kind of cook the dish so that it is nice and sterile. That way the jam lasts as long as possible. Even though it tastes so darn good, it's not going to last that long anyway because it's just going to be eaten by the vultures. And now that our dish is all preheated and our jam is good to go, looking like the moisture content's about where I want it, it's time to combine the two. So I'm just going to set my dish here on this wooden surface and then proceed to pour in my jam. It's still literally liquidy at this stage, and it will all kind of congeal once it cools off. And I put the lid inside of the pot with the boiling water so that I'm able to heat it up so it's all nice and sterile too for when I put it on top. And once we got our lid on there, we let it cool off and then place it in the fridge. Let it sit for 12 hours and it's all ready and good to go. And if you want a little bit sweeter when you're making it, maybe instead of 50% do 60%, or if you want a little bit less sweet, 40%, 20%. It's really easy to customize it, and doing everything by weight really simplifies the process and I think makes it a lot easier. So let me know in the comments below if you make this style of jam, or if you want to make this and try it. Tell me what your thoughts are. If you like my content, like and subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome.